Hi there, dear friend out there. This is the second and therefore the middle section of my startup article called Searching for the Moment. If you have missed the previous podcast, it and the transcript are available off my website ccsaint-clair.com under the link CC on Destiny. Over the past 13 months at the time I typed that file, but by now it's more like 2.5 years ago, I have come to trust Moria as implicitly as I do my life partner, certainly much more than any doctor, specialist, healer, therapist I have ever had to consult, even more than the highly respected and genial psychiatrist healer who some 5 years ago, or maybe by now more like 7 years ago, decided that all I needed to get over my childhood issues was to take up chakra meditation. It is under her guidance that on a weekly basis I began the healing of my energy field, and a couple of years later I met my first spiritual teacher, not Moria. If it had not been for these two women's approach to matters of the soul, I would never have been able to recognize Moria when she presented herself to me as a true spiritual guide, my spiritual guide. Neither would I have been open to accept trustingly the regular sessions of distant healing she directs at my energy field. Meeting these three women in the sequence just described above amounts to synchronicity at its best. Nothing happens but in the fullness of time. So what's a good woman to do when, like myself, she gets so frustrated with her struggles with the practical applications of basic spiritual tenets? If this woman is me, she sorts out what her head and her heart have come to accept from what she understands but has not yet integrated. The stuff that tests her mettle as she is finally awake, aware, and on the path. Once I had begun sorting through the notes derived from my correspondence with Moria with a view to embarking on this project, I came to Andrew Harvey's Journey to Ladakh, where Tuxé Rinpoche tells him, a writer and a poet in search of self, you do not need to stop working, but you need to strive for a new relationship with your work. You do not need to stop writing. You need to explore another way to write, to build awareness to write from. You will probably not find this quickly. You will need patience. Many people will tell you that you are misguided, ridiculous. You must listen to what they have to say, learn from their criticism, but not be swayed by them. That brought a grin to my lips. As I expose the sky-high citadel of my struggles with the lessons that are forcing me well beyond my comfort zones, to expand my mind and my heart, to finally grapple with concepts never previously considered by me, I will at the same time share Moria's interpretation of all that I find relevant to the topics discussed in any one section. And this is the bulk of the articles I have written on Moria's teachings. And so today, though I still only stand a little further up the path, both my feet are firmly planted on it as I experiment with the elusive but cornerstone concept of absence, of the moment, in our wakeful hour, as discussed by Alan Watts in The Way of Liberation. We are living in a culture entirely hypnotized by the illusion of time, he says, in which the so-called present moment is felt as nothing but an infinitesimal causative past and an absorbingly important future. We have no present. Our consciousness is almost completely preoccupied with memory and expectation. We do not realize that there never was, is, or will be any other experience than the present experience. We are therefore out of touch with reality. We confuse the world as talked about, described, and measured with the world that actually is, which is the moment that I call the moment which is under our feet, the only moment we can truly attempt to shape in a healthy way, in the moment. One word of warning, even about the greatest philosophers and theosophists, all we can accept from them is their ideas. Like most sport coaches who train high-profile athletes without themselves leaving the daily rigor they impose, most great thinkers have not themselves excelled in the spiritual actualization of their own beliefs. Alan Watts, considered by many as one of the greatest minds of the 20th century, was no exception. Neither was P.D. Uspensky. In fact, the old "do as I say and not as I do" motto is best kept in mind when reading what the world's greatest philosophers say on matters most of us have neither time, ability, or inclination to think about. That way, we do not risk being either hypnotized by the brilliance of such great minds or tempted to disregard them for being as flawed and damaged as the rest of us. We can't afford to throw that baby with the bathwater, if you know what I mean. Having said that, I am totally convinced that Moria walks the talk of her teachings. And of course I have explained why I mean what I have just said through the series of articles I have already written on the topic. Lesson 1, be here now. Though her life is hectic, Moria tends to the connection with her soul daily, moment by moment. As she bounces emails and faxes in cyberspace, she tends to this connection while she edits manuscripts and types theses for professors in Jerusalem, where she lives. She tends to this connection while neighbors drop in unexpectedly and through the incessant ring of the phone. Typing, she says, as a mechanical task equalizes the spiritual side of me. With peace and acceptance in her head, Moria deals with the rub of everyday life downtown Jerusalem, a healer of this world, but no longer quite in it. She herself is convinced that her soul will keep her shielded from discomfort and unhappiness until the time of her death, which last time we talked about it was expected to occur in her 86th birthday, some 20 years from now. Understanding the concept of being in the moment, in the present moment, simply means being aware of ourselves within the endless string of random and boring little moments that connect all our major ones. The happy ones and the devastating ones, like the many small breaths that connect each of the big ones. On the one hand, our big breath moments are the sharp-edged moments we live for, while on the other, they are the gatecrasher moments against which we have absolutely no protection and no way of keeping out. The bad, the dark moments, the good news, the metaphoric blows to the head, as I call such moments in my articles, in their myriads of form. To put it another way, being aware in the present is what fits neatly within the space caught between two words: alert, passivity. I need to wake up, sings Melissa Etheridge. Have I been sleeping, she asks. I've been so still, afraid of crumbling. Have I been careless, dismissing all the distant rumblings? Take me where I am supposed to be, to comprehend the things that I can't see. 'Cause I need to move, I need to wake up, I need to change, I need to shake up, I need to speak out. Something's gotta break up. I've been asleep, and I need to wake up. Now. Being in the present moment simply means observing ourselves in the tiny little present that, in truth, is the ephemeral present. We are aware of it, but let's not give it a name. Let's not qualify it or our response to it. Let's just accept it as it is, dynamically, not passively. Passive acceptance only creates resentment. The present moment that links breath to heart only needs to be made tangible and quantified, acknowledged but not judged. It does not need to be labeled in any form, for the minute we slap a label on that tiny, bubble-thin moment, the minute we give it a rating, that moment is already of the past. It is no longer under our feet, and we have missed being in it. This concludes the second part of this reading, and now the moment under my feet is about going on and recording the last section of this article. So keep safe, keep calm in your present moment, dear friend out there, as it is the only moment which, awake and aware, we can accept and shape placidly.